Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Monday, June 30th, 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're going to be discussing the wedding of the year. So Jeff Bezos has married Lauren Sanchez in this $56 million wedding in Venice with Jordanian royalty present. We're also going to discuss how Tesla launches in Saudi Arabia with its Riyadh center, which is now open to the public, with a Jeddah location that is set for the end of the year. And it's reported that Israel's 12-day war with Iran is estimated to cost $6 billion, according to the central bank. And finally, UK billionaire John Fredriksen has moved his $10 billion empire to Dubai amid tax policy shifts in the UK.
And if you were looking at social media during the weekend, you wouldn't have missed it. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez tied the knot in a lavish 3-day wedding in Venice, reportedly costing between $47 million and $56 million. That's what Reuters reported.
Now, the celebrations spanned Venice's iconic landmarks, beginning with a ceremony at Madonna dell'Orto Church and a private vow exchange on the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, I believe.
And the festivities culminated with an extravagant party at the historic Arsenal featuring 9 luxury yachts, 90 private jets, an exclusive yacht, and foam parties.
So high-profile guests included Kim Kardashian, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Oprah Winfrey, and most notably, Jordanian royalty. So Queen Rania, Princess Iman, and Crown Prince Hussein added to this regal flair to the event.
And the wedding's grandeur was marked by couture gowns and exclusive events, blending business, celebrity, and royal elements in one of the year's most talked about social occasions.
So why is this entire wedding actually a big deal? I mean, it's crazy. You have the coalition of No Space for Jeff Bezos, which protested against this. You have the Everyone Hates Elon Musk group in Venice, which protested against this. And the entire reason for this actually is because of the fact that Jeff Bezos is the 3rd richest man in the world. And of course, he did not just bring himself or just bring his guests. He brought over 90 private jets to Venice, and they also had a lot of expensive boats that were present. And for the Venetian community, this was a problem because they're already facing flooding issues. They have a lot of climate issues, and all of these private jets, they add to their CO2 emissions. And I remember there was even this protest that was like, the wealthy Jeff Bezos can pay tax too. And I think what's so interesting about this is because you have the Venetian mayor who actually responded and said, no, this wedding is it's such a good celebration because it is bringing more rich people to our ecosystem. But I completely understand the people of Venice, to be honest with you, because it's almost like this entire wedding could have been very private. We all did not have to hear about it. But Bezos and his wife, Sanchez, they made sure that we all heard about this wedding, that it almost became this like public spectacle. And it's worth $50 million. But I think my question is, why would Jordanian royalty be present? Why would Queen Rania be there?
With Queen Rania, maybe the wife.
By the way, she was present. She was present for their engagement party, and honestly, the best way that I can think of this, Majid, is that the Jordanian economy, they need more foreign investments. I mean, we saw how when Trump went crazy and he decided to put tariffs on everyone, Jordan had the highest tariffs imposed on them in the Middle East. I believe up to 40%. So I think by them ensuring that they have close ties with Jeff Bezos, the world's 3rd richest man, I think it's definitely going to allow for more foreign investment into their country. Like, it can't be underestimated. And Jared Kushner was also there, and I think he has a fund with the Qataris. He got an investment from them and also from the UAE.
Jordan is very interesting in terms of all this because they're very, very, very close to America. Then they got slapped with tariff. But on the flip side, the king, he is very, very vocal about Israel's atrocities and the genocide that they're carrying out in Palestine. So it's a very love-hate kind of a relationship. Jordan was the first country where Carrefour had to shut down because of boycotts, and it was rebranded by Majid Al Futtaim into, what was the name? Very interesting name, Hypermax.
Hypermax.
So, yeah, so we see that people have this affinity towards America because they get so much aid from US aid, through US aid for a lot of their educational projects, their healthcare projects, but they hate the people, they hate American policies overall. So it kind of reminds me of my own country, Pakistan also, because the general sentiment towards America is, oh, it's a bad country, it does bad things to people, but we get so much in aid and through contracts, and a lot of third world countries which are dependent on American money have this sentiment that they have kept us, they've they have a hold on our economy, so they're bad people, but without them they also can't survive. It's a very unnecessary or necessary evil which is there. There was this one interesting thing that I found, that the couple prioritized Venice's economy and heritage. They sourced nearly 80% of the supplies locally, requesting charitable donations instead of gifts. So they didn't get any gifts. Instead, they were like, if you're coming.
I did see that invite, and people are going crazy over it because they're like, how are you?
So they supported UNESCO Venice, Corella, and Venice International
They
University.
donated actually 3 million euros to be
So
specific.
imagine, instead of gifts, they were like, okay, that. So there's two sides of the coin. Some people hate them for coming there and putting up this luxury show. It's mostly Venetians, people who live there, and they don't want anyone to come because they want silent, peaceful life. And then there's the other side, that they've contributed so much to the hype that they've created. To be honest, it will blow up. People will start going there and start posing at where Jeff Bezos and his wife posed for their anniversaries and this. So tourism will see an uptick, but again, other problems like 90 jets. Just talk about sustainability.
You know what it is, Majid? Honestly, there's no part in me whatsoever that will blame a rich person for having a rich wedding.
Yeah.
You know, in the end of the day, it is their money.
Yeah.
I think what the point here is that, you know, for the Venetian people, is that it's not that there shouldn't be rich people. It's that there should not be poor people. You know, you're not allowed to come to a society where they have so many of these implications that they are going through, and put such a beautiful wedding in display to them. I think it's the fact that it is almost tone deaf. I think that he could have gone forward with this perhaps without letting people know about the wedding. But, you know, if you invite Kim Kardashian and, Jordanian royalty, people will pay attention.
Very local example. I was just doing the tourism story, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, the ruler of Dubai and the Prime Minister of UAE, he recently tweeted that UAE was the it was part of the top 7 global destinations in the world which got international visitor money. So people came and invested. It was about 218 billion, but above 200 billion. The funny thing is, we see a very big crowd of international visitors come to Dubai, come to Abu Dhabi in peak seasons, right?
Yeah.
Dubai people, maybe some of them complain that, oh, there's too much traffic on the roads, there's too much traffic on the landmark sites. But it's so nicely controlled by the government. They make the metro lines more effective, they deploy more personnel to handle the crowds. So I think all of this, it's neither Jeff Bezos' fault, it's neither the people's fault that they're protesting. It's at the end of the day, the government of Venice, that they need to have some control over everything. So if they are fed up with tourists, they need to make a system for tourists, like Dubai. You can follow Dubai, Abu Dhabi's example. Every year we see something new announcement. Abu Dhabi has Disneyland coming.
This year, I think it was Team Labs.
They have the Underdog, which is not talked about. I don't still know what's happening with the Las Vegas Fair, which is coming to Abu Dhabi. I saw their page. There's only 2 posts, the announcement posts that were coming, and then the Las Vegas Fair turning into something Abu Dhabi. They only have 2 posts. I don't know what's happening. We need to find out that. That's a very interesting topic. Just came up. So we have so many attractions coming to Dubai, Abu Dhabi. So naturally, people also come. But we have a system. where we know that this is how we will control the tourists, this is how peak times are going to be controlled. Last year, GITEX, not one of, the biggest tech conference and startup conference in the world happened. We saw RTA like super active. They had traffic plans, they were telling people this is the alternate route, this is what we're doing. You need to have that kind of leadership to sustain tourism. 19%, I was just reading, 19% of UAE economy this year will be funded by tourism. Yes, UAE economy. 19% of the GDP will be through tourism. But how do you manage it? That's the question. You need proactive leadership, you need proactive government system, you need proactive RTAs and Abu Dhabi traffic thing, whatever, I completely forgot the name. But you need systems in place. Venice needs a system. And Dubai and Abu Dhabi and overall UAE is the best place to learn it
But
from.
you know what it is
right now,
also,
at least.
Magic, like with all of these coalitions and like Venice that are protesting against this, I remember reading somewhere that there were these protesters who were also like, how are we going to support Jeff Bezos' wedding when he's, working with Saudi Arabia? And it's like, in the end of the day, while these protesters are trying to do some very good work, and it is it is important. They still have that backwards thinking about the Middle East because very recently
they haven't been here. Maybe that is why.
Because very recently, Jeff Bezos, Amazon Web Services, they partnered with Saudi Arabia's newly launched artificial intelligence company, Humane, and it's basically this like $5 billion investment, and it's to build an AI zone in Saudi Arabia. And they've actually, this has been in plans for a very long time. They're trying to build an AI presence in Saudi because they are very much aware that this is just the beginning for them and that, they need to be looped in immediately to have a head start. And, some of the protesters, they were noting this, like, how can Jeff Bezos work with Saudi Arabia that is so corrupt? And it's like, you can tell that these protesters don't exactly have the most sane thinking, So in the end of the day, I just think that you got to let people live. Like, let him have his wedding. It's none of your business.
You're talking about Amazon and Saudi. Recently, one of my friends works in Amazon, came back to Dubai. He's shifted here. He was the category manager for Lux cosmetic products, their luxury cosmetic products. He was telling me such an interesting story. He was like, the Lux cosmetics industry, the category was very bad in Saudi Arabia, and it was beaten year on year by UAE. And I was like, UAE is such a small country. We have so many less people as compared to Saudi Arabia. Geographically, we're smaller than Saudi Arabia. And I was like, there was zero demand for luxury cosmetic products. And he stayed there for I think he went in 2019, 2020. No, sorry, 2021 he went there.
That's so interesting.
And in 4 years, now they're at par. So I was like, maybe because I was talking to him from the Smashi business perspective and he was giving me the Amazon perspective.
What was your perspective?
My perspective was that we have seen in the last 2-3 years that the new generation, which is young, they want to do stuff, they're going into BNPL, they're going into AI, they're going into jobs. All these people, their proneness to the social media, I think that is why now they want Lux cosmetics products, the luxury cosmetics product. And he was like, I saw that change.
Was this data on Amazon, Magic?
No, it's him telling me because he was the category manager. Now he's moved here and he's the category manager for the grocery section.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting story. How grocery this is not grocery and this is grocery. I'll tell you some other day. But very nice insights from him. I can't name him, but he knows Magic. I'm talking about him.
You know why this is so interesting, by the way? Because I remember when I used to work as a sales associate and I was at Lush, I had a high number of Saudis, more Saudis than Emiratis.
Yeah.
And it's
because they would come here to buy it, right?
Exactly. And for me, I was so curious. I'm like, guys, do you not have Lush in Saudi? And they were telling me how, they come here to shop. And I think with Dubai, with the UAE, and especially, Dubai as a city, they've done this very strategic thing of positioning themselves as this luxurious standpoint. This is where luxury is, Fashion avenues. I feel like they've drawn this feel to it that that it's like, if I want to do my luxury shopping, I want to go to the Dubai duty free. I want to go to Dubai to do my shopping.
Dubai Mall, the
So-
Fashion Avenue, it's like a complete different world. You walk across the Dubai Mall, you won't feel different, but as soon as you enter the
Even their
Fashion Avenue,
bathrooms, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's different. It's completely like Lux. But yeah, that's the update from the Amazon wedding, the Jeff Bezos wedding. But now we move on to Saudi Arabia. We're talking about it, and Tesla has officially entered the Saudi market. They did a launch event, but finally they've opened their first center also. So they've unveiled their first service and delivery center in Riyadh. It was last Thursday. We were off for 3 days, so now we're discussing it today. And it's on the Takhassusi road. And a second center is also planned to open in Jeddah before the end of 2025.
So the company will begin deliveries of its popular Model 3 and Model Y vehicles with plans to introduce the Cybertruck by the end of the year. So this marks the Cybertruck's first market outside North America.
And Tesla is also expanding its support infrastructure, launching mobile servicing for owners and growing its supercharger network. Currently, 28 charging stalls operate across Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam.
So Saudi Arabia aims for 30% of Riyadh's vehicles to be electric by 2030, supported by public investment and infrastructure development. So Tesla's arrival taps into rising local interest, with surveys showing 40% of Saudis considering EV purchases within 3 years.
And despite stiff competition from PIF-backed Lucid Motors and Chinese brands like BYD and Zeekr, Tesla expects initial sales of 10,000 to 15,000 vehicles in the next 2 years. The company's success will depend on the Cybertruck launch and service network expansion in this emerging EV market. And Saudi Arabia, definitely they would want to move away from oil because they want to sell more oil outside, not use it inside. But EV market is very big, and Tesla has entered it. Now we'll see as soon as this service center is open and we finish the second half of this year, we'll get some numbers out. 10 to 15,000 Teslas, not a very ambitious target. It's not a big target, but it's very achievable because there is interest in Saudi Arabia.
You know, I feel that we all understand what Saudi's interest here is, but what really is Elon Musk's interest to be operating in
Sell
Saudi
more
Arabia?
Teslas.
Now, I remember we did a piece about it on Smashi, and I think what's really eye-opening here is the fact that Tesla's primary market is the U.S.
Yeah.
Most of their buyers are American, but guess who their second largest buyers are? It's the Chinese, and I think that this is such a nod towards their entire drama and his fallout with Donald Trump, because I think that it was like a build-up from when Trump placed those tariffs on China. Because what will China do? It will take a look at who Trump's right-hand man is and say, okay, fine, we won't buy your Teslas. We're going to buy BYD. We're going to buy Chinese product.
So I think have so many. That's the problem with Musk making China is like second market or secondary market, because they have so many options. We have so many options here in Dubai through Chinese EV vehicles. Imagine in the country how many options do they have. So he needs to pivot, and I think this is the best pivot right now, Middle East, because people have money here to buy Teslas.
Exactly, and I just there was this prediction basically that Elon is not just going to sell Teslas in Saudi Arabia, but he's going to sell them for a more expensive price to make up for that shortfall for if less Chinese people buy Teslas. And I think for me, that's what I see about this story. I think it's more about Elon's interest more so than Saudi's.
And there's reports that they're opening other places as well. Kuwait, there was a report that they're going there.
Majid, are they open here?
In Dubai, I have never seen a Tesla store, but there's like 100 Teslas. We have Tesla taxis, so Tesla penetration in this market.
They are open here. The Tesla Center showroom is in Sheikh Zayed Road.
Nice. I've seen the charging stations, like wherever I went to Abu Dhabi Mall, not Abu Dhabi Mall, which one? Yas Mall. They have like a whole line there. They have multiple charging stations, especially for Tesla in a lot of places. Never saw the Tesla showroom. But again, the thing is, we have Tesla for taxis. The penetration into this market was like very long on. But I think the whole Middle East is still a market for him. And that is going to be his secondary market after US. Even to be honest, if there comes a day, which we saw, there were a lot of protests against Tesla. People were burning cars, throwing stones at them. Even if he exits US completely, he still has a big Middle Eastern market which has a place for EVs. And they're trying to move away sustainability with Saudi Vision 2030. UAE has the Urban Mobility 2040 plan. We have so many plans which actually need EV, which actually need us to move from fossil fuels. He has a very big market. He just needs to tap into it properly. And the next story for today is very interesting. We actually have numbers from how much Israel lost in terms of infrastructure and all that. And it's $6 billion. So Israel's recent 12-day unprovoked conflict that they started with Iran out of nowhere is projected to cost the country roughly $6 billion, equivalent to about 1% of its GDP, according to Central Bank Governor Amir Yaron.
So the war caused extensive damage across infrastructure, property, manufacturing, and agriculture sectors, significantly impacting the nation's economic stability.
And temporary closure of Israeli airspace disrupted logistics and tourism, obviously, further exacerbating economic losses during the conflict period.
So military spending surged sharply as Israel replenished its arsenal, adding pressure to public finances and ongoing security concerns.
And Israel's tax authority has processed 41,651 compensation claims till now. More will come, most probably, including over 32,000 for structural damage, that is buildings, houses, all that, 4,100 for vehicle damages, and 4,400 for equipment losses, highlighting the widespread material impact.
And I think with this story, ladies and gentlemen, this is the work of Bezos Smotrich, Israel's finance minister. And I remember I was reading this piece on the Wall Street Journal that was basically saying that Israel is quite literally burning through $200 million per interceptor missiles, and that the estimated cost for how much they would require to repair Israel's Palestine's infrastructure is $400 million. So I think, you know, with this, it's interesting to see that. I think it's good for people to see that this will have an impact. You know, I said this before, but, you know, Smashi, we wrote this piece about how highly educated, intelligent Israelis are you know, they're leaving the location, and, you know, they're immigrating elsewhere. And right now, their favorite place to immigrate is Cyprus.
Yeah, the main thing about all of this is, and it's the most used, most cliche statement ever in the history of wars, no one wins in a war. It's always a loss to each of the side. It's just like who loses more. The arsenal replenishment, that's also a very big concern. They have to get back the missiles. Imagine this was just 12 days. They've been bombing Gaza, Palestine for nearly 2 years now. Imagine how much money they've burned through just trying to destroy a nice, very nice place. Palestine in its entirety is such a beautiful place. They're just trying to destroy each and everything. Literally the last building they're trying to destroy. And they've burned through so much money. And they don't get it. They just don't get it that it's wrong. They're using their people's money, all the money that they could use for the welfare and for the whatever of people. They're burning through all of that, just trying to destroy a beautiful city, a beautiful country. And all that, and then they attacked Lebanon as well. They're literally, I don't know, doing it for no good reason. There is a logic behind it. A lot of people say that it's just to give Benjamin Netanyahu the legitimacy to stay. Because otherwise he has so many cases going on. We talked about the BB files. I still haven't seen it. I have to see it. I read a synopsis of it, just that. But I have to see the whole documentary. But he has so many cases on him that if he stops all the wars and goes into peace period, he will be thrown out from the leadership role and someone else will take over. We've seen protests by his own people in the government. We've seen the Knesset members, they've protested against him.
Yeah.
The opposition is constantly protesting against his wars, and they're very clear like that this is the only reason he's doing it. His own ego that I don't want to step down. There is no other reason. There is no war with Hamas. There's no war with Lebanese Hezbollah. There's no problem with Iran's nuclear, whatever they're doing, proliferation. It's just that he
He
wants
just
legitimacy.
thinks this is all like awesome.
Yeah, he thinks that I just want to stay and I'll bomb everyone till I stay. And we recently saw yesterday, Trump said that there's a case that's going to open with him, and Trump came out and said that, oh no, this case will destroy the whole thing that Netanyahu has done over these years, trying to like bring peace to the region. And I was like, bring what peace to the region? It's constantly in a state of flux because of his bombardments, and it's literally ICC, the International Criminal Court, calls him war criminal. His whole cabinet has been called a war criminal. America is not a part of ICC, but still, a lot of countries right now in the world are saying that if he lands there, the guy Hamdani who recently won the primary,
Zohran.
yeah, Zohran Mamdani, he's like, if he comes to New York, I will arrest him because ICC, America again doesn't follow ICC, they're not part of it. But still, he's like, he's a war criminal. I will would arrest him. And the funny story is there's this one guy, I completely forgot the name, when Israel was attacked, we did a story on him as well. He's called the Warren Buffett of America, the modern day Warren Buffett. He also is part of New York City, where Mamdani is now, and he's a very pro-Zionist, pro-Israeli guy. That it's going to be interesting to see what Mamdani does.
It will be
overall,
interesting
the
to see.
situation, they just need to realize, they just need to put logic in front of them and be like, why are we wasting so much money and so much bombs and so much cash? We're running through it just because.
Because
right?
maybe it's not their money.
I think
it's
it's
American
the
money that they're using.
Gen Z way of saying just because, right?
No, but it's not their money that they're using quite clearly.
Yeah,
but
they're
it's not
getting
just
money, yeah.
but it's not just Israelis who are leaving Israel. It's also British people that are leaving the UK. And in the most notable example that has happened over the weekend, UK billionaire John Fredriksen, a leading shipping magnate, has relocated major parts of his $10 billion business empire from London to Dubai, citing changes in UK tax policy.
And Fredriksen recently closed his London sea tankers office, joining other wealthy individuals like Richard Desmond, who did that. He's not a shipping magnate, but he is one of the billionaires who moved, and they're shifting operations to the UAE's business-friendly environment.
So Dubai's appeal as a global wealth hub is growing, with forecasts suggesting 16,500 millionaires will leave the UK for the Emirate in 2025, attracted by its low taxes and pro-business climate.
And the move underscores concerns that Labour's scrapping, Labour Party basically of the UK, scrapping of tax breaks for the wealthy could erode London's financial competitiveness and accelerate capital flight.
So Fredriksen's decision reflects a broader trend of high net worth individuals seeking tax-friendly jurisdictions, challenging London's status as a premier financial center.
Yeah, everyone is running away from the UK.
It's crazy, and
Yeah.
there are so many names. Just very recently there was Nassif Suarez. He moved his business to Abu Dhabi, but he also moved to Italy, which I think.
Basically he opened his family office in Abu Dhabi, and so basically you have a country where you're living. So if it was UK, you have to pay taxes now. So he moved it to Italy for better tax-friendly policies. So he himself is in Turkey, but his family office is in Abu Dhabi, because we see a lot of family offices opening in Abu Dhabi now. The richest man of Nigeria, he has a Abu Dhabi office. I can count so many.
Do you remember his name, Majid?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. It was last year we reported, but I remember that he was the richest man in Nigeria. Naguib Sawarez is here. He's doing his business here. He has a Monify.
He launched it last year here in Dubai.
So literally everyone right now is living here, and reminds me, and before we finish, it reminds me of the idea, and I will repeat it for the next whole year, where this person, Abu Dhabi Financial Center head, he said a very nice thing, Badr Al Ulama, he said that Abu Dhabi, they're trying to build it not to be a likable city, but a lovable city. And that's the most important thing. They don't want people to just come here, like it, and stay and invest money. They want people to come and love the city. So they're trying to increase the lovability of the city, that then if you love it, you'll bring your family, you'll bring your business, you'll bring literally everything and then stay in Abu Dhabi. And to be honest, Abu Dhabi is my favorite emirate out of all the 7.
Why don't you live there then, Majid?
I have
Why
a job in Dubai. I will ask Rich to move me someday to Abu Dhabi and we'll shift this whole thing.
Guys, I'm so glad he finally admitted it. I feel
Yeah.
like nobody loves, tooting Dubai's horn
To
more
be
than
honest,
Majid.
I've realized over like these last 2-3 years, Abu Dhabi is great if you're a businessman. Dubai is great if you're a job person, because Dubai has more job opportunities. There's so many businesses well settled here that you have more job opportunities. In Abu Dhabi, you have more business opportunities. If you're in Abu Dhabi,
Especially
and
if you're not a local, I also feel.
because everyone there in Abu Dhabi has a business mindset, and you will find investors literally everywhere. You'll walk around, you go to the hubs, and you will find people, and you maybe have a chat over a smoke or anything. You will find people who are ready to invest, or they're looking for investment. So if you're a person of business, Abu Dhabi is great. If you're a person of job, Dubai is the best because you have so many opportunities here. But Ras Al Khaimah is developing. Sharjah already has a very good, stable system in place. I hope Fujairah, Ajman, all these places will rise up. And eventually someday we will be talking about them like we talk about Dubai and Abu Dhabi, right?
Yes, we will be.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all of our social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You can find the subscription link in the description.
And this has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 1.5 million monthly listeners across all platforms. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. We also have the Smashi Sports Show happening today. So if you're listening till now, you can watch what happened in the Club World Cup, because one of the Arab teams out of 5 has qualified for the round of 16. They play tomorrow in the morning. So we'll talk about it. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.